All right, folks in cyberspace. Uh, Today is Wednesday, and we have come with our December 18th edition of the show, The Hour of Politics, on this network, focus on Liberia. Again, it is our Wednesday special edition of our program, The Hour of Politics, on this network, focus on Liberia. We want to take this time to say welcome, welcome, and welcome to the show. We have with us the man, Mr. Y. Michael Gilman, as our guest for today. Mr. Gilman is comfortably seated. Mr. Gilman and his team were able to organize a peaceful protest that was held simultaneously in Washington, D.C. and in the Liberian capital, Monrovia. According to them, it was a peaceful protest intended to alarm that other individuals in the homeland and also in the diaspora as trying to bring war in Liberia. And so they needed to do so to let the international community, as well as Liberians around the world, know that they do not want war, they want peace, they want to protect our democracy, they want to protect freedom, so that Liberians can enjoy peace for the children to play again. We have Mr. Gilman here. He will do all the explanation, why was going through his mind, his team. He will do all the explanation, and we will also talk big politics here today. And he's in a seat, he's seated, and we will get back to it. Mr. Gilman, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Good evening, Mr. Sear, Anthony Sear, and I'd like to say thanks to you and the team at FOL, Focus on Liberia, for hosting us tonight. We are indeed excited, and we are grateful that we can come on your platform to continue the exercise we've begun, and to let Liberia know exactly where we are or what did we achieve, or what we hope to achieve with all this exercise. So again, thanks for hosting us here this evening, and of course, we like we say during your invite here, we will answer the harder or the tougher questions, and of course, whatever is out there that people want to know about concerned Liberians in the United States, we will be here to provide that information. Again, thank you very much, and good evening to all you Liberians at home and abroad that are listening. It is indeed an honor to have you listen to us here tonight.
That was the voice of Mr. Y. Michael Gilman, our guest on this show today and this evening, wherever you are, fellow Liberians. We want to use the opportunity to welcome you to the Hour of Politics with me, your humble host, Anthony Sear. We are about to go into our topic. Our guest has introduced himself and said a little about the show. Mr. Gilman, let's start like this. Nowadays in Liberia, there is something that is widely known as ruling position, no position, and opposition. Where does Mr. Y. Michael Gilman stand?
Those or distinction or nomenclature were brought about from the 172nd national orator, Miss Lema Bowie, when she addressed the nation on July 26, 2019, when she classified Liberians into those three groups. Where we stand as a people is from that vantage point of being very much concerned about our country and people. So position, opposition, no position, we are a concerned group of people who are concerned about all of those positions.
Mr. Gilman, we ask you a straightforward question. Are you an opposition, no position, or ruling position?
I'm neither an opposition or a position. I am as independent as can be. You can say we are sympathetic to the government of the day, but we are not in ownership form or fashion an associate of the ruling position or opposition.
And why you think we can think or say that you are sympathetic?
Because on our show, we discuss the news, the happenings in our country. And people consider that as being the most thing that you hear around here is, oh, he's a pay agent. He's one of them. He a sedition. He a government propagandist and what have you. You know, we are neither of those. We are about the facts, the truth that's happening in our country. And let me hasten to say that we would have done it for any government that came through the means of the ballot box. So it's not just about this one particular government, but any government that will govern accordingly, we will be sympathetic to you.
So what's about the people, the Liberian people? Because you just said here that you could do the same thing for anybody or any government. What's about the people? Are you on the side of the people? Are you on the side of the truth?
Most definitely. That is why we have established this group, and it's going to be incorporated under the laws of the United States of America. Had we not been concerned about the people, we wouldn't have done what we've done to come together, to raise money, resources, to put in our time and efforts and energy to sound off an alarm that things that got our country in ruins, in tatters, destroyed for 14 years, that took 250,000 lives. Had we not been concerned about the people and the country, we wouldn't have gone to that extent to organize, to march on Washington, to encourage our folks back home, to march on to Maba Point, the EU, the AU, the ECOWAS, and all of those. We wouldn't have taken those steps.
Mr. Gilman, we will get into the details, folks, in cyberspace. If you have just joining us, this is the Hour of Politics on this network, focus on Liberia. I am your humble host on this special edition with the man, Michael Gilman, the host of the GD Hard Talk. He is in a hard seat, and we have some tough questions for you. If you look right there, our topic is clear. We are discussing December 13th. On the 13th of December, Mr. Gilman, as a lead campaigner with other organizers, organized the December 13th protest simultaneously in Monrovia and Washington, D.C. They said they are tired of war. They think some group of people are bringing war, and so they were able to carry on what he described, or they described, as people's protest. Mr. Gilman, you and your team braggadociously campaigned for D13. Tell us, what was that all about? I mean, what are you trying to accomplish here?
December 13th, Friday the 13th, the biggest Liberian march on Washington was organized and staged to draw attention of Congress, the United States government, our international partners, countries of the world who made the sacrifices, who put in treasured resources to get our country to where it is. Again, we came together to alarm that what started on December 24th, 1989, that originated from these shores of America is once more creeping up from these shores of America.
And how do you know that, Mr. Gilman? How do you know that?
How do I know this? You will recall we reported some time ago that Liberians, some met in Bear, Delaware, with a number of people, including Fumba Salif, now ringleader, I'll call him the poster child, the terrorist, Henry Pedro Costa, and others, met in Bear, Delaware, and discussed some of what is now obtaining. And we reported that story with photos and what have you. And when we reported that story, a gentleman who's have just resigned from the government, Shonian, Elias Shonian.
And if I may ask, what was the meeting all about, Mr. Gilman?
Plotting this December 30th. That's what the essence of the meeting. Plotting this December 30th.
Are you worried about December 30th?
Absolutely. If we were not worried about people plotting to tear down the airport, to burn down the airport, to arm former rebels and give them guns, and at their instruction they will shoot and kill. Zogos will loot businesses in Monrovia. Have we not been worried or weary and concerned about all of these pronouncements? We wouldn't have done what we did Friday, December 13th. We would have sat home on our hands, eat our lunches, our dinners, have fun times with our families and what have you. We would have done just that and not worry about what somebody is planning in Bear, Delaware, or Wilmington, Delaware, or where the next man comes from. And the signs are there. They've been there. You know, it's only that social media have empowered us now to be able to tackle some of these things head on. And ever since we made that disclosure, we published that story. We were threatened with lawsuit by Elias Shonian. And up to now, we are still sitting pretty. No lawsuit.
Mr. Gilman, I don't mean to interrupt, but you used a very strong word a few moments ago. You termed the individuals you claim had a meeting in Delaware as terrorists. All right. Do you care to tell us who were these individuals and why you think they are terrorists?
One person that we branded and will continue to brand him as the ringleader and the terrorist. He will be known as the first Liberian terrorist, is Henry Pedro Costa. And I look you face head on in the camera. And I'm not mincing any words because I'm not famished with words to describe what a terrorist Henry Pedro Costa is.
A terrorist, excuse me, a terrorist is someone who has gone out to terrorize a group of people, a country, or a place.
Right.
Thus, Mr. Henry Costa.
What do you make of the Catholic hospital protest incident? What do you make of that? When he sat in the studio in Wilmington, Delaware, and said, get people to go to Catholic hospital, block the entrance, the driveways, and everywhere. Let nobody go in, let nobody come out. What happened there? They followed his instructions. They blocked the Catholic hospital. They rooted up from the sidewalks, the curbs that prevented erosion from the streets, the Tottenham Boulevard. 4 persons died at the Cali hospital because they could not.
4 persons died at the Cali hospital?
Yes.
At the hands of those he instructed to go there and provide shield for Justina Taylor?
Well, you know, let me quote Rudy Giuliani, who said, when you protest and you block the streets of New York, you cause harm. People died because the ambulance cannot get by. So you better stay on the sidewalk. They block all entrances and exit points of Catholic Hospital. Who knows if those patients were being transported or their doctors were coming in and could not get in.
You are speculating here, Mr. Gilman.
I'm not speculating. I'm not speculating.
Were the patients in the ambulances you're talking about, or were they at the hospital receiving treatment?
They were at the hospital. Folks were at the hospital.
Imagine Did the individuals that go stop the doctors from providing care for this individual that died that you're talking about?
I cannot tell you whether they stopped the doctors or not. But what I can tell you, they prevented the free flow of doctors and nurses, transportation, ambulance, whatsoever. Those patients were probably supposed to have moved to another location for treatments that Cali Hospital could not have provided. All right, for hours and hours. Who protests a hospital and have it locked down because there is somebody in there and you will not allow free flow? What rights is that? What rights have you got to assemble, freely assemble, as opposed to my rights to freely travel?
Mr. Gilman, do you have problem with protest?
I don't have problem with protest.
Then why are you sounding as though you have serious problem with people exercising their right under the law to assemble?
I don't have problem with protests. Okay. Neither do I have problem with people exercising their free rights. What I have problem with is people infringing on other people's rights. Your right to freely assemble should never hinder my right to freely travel. Were people's rights to travel that day affected?
Mr. Gilman, let me bring this point in, my dear brother.
Right.
Let's look at Justina Taylor as an individual who some people said were more like held captive at the hospital. There was report that Justina wanted to have gone to the embassy where she was scheduled for a visa interview. And the government security forces, to be specific, the police, could not allow her to go for that interview.
Right.
So don't you think that her right to free movement was being infringed on? And so maybe the group of citizens went there to help a sister who needed to exercise her freedom of movement out?
Well, what did the government say? She was neither under arrest, neither was she stopped or barred from leaving.
But she said that whenever she attempted to leave, they would tell her she will be arrested when she leaves the hospital. Isn't that correct?
I can't speak to that because, you know, many things happen and the facts are the facts. Justina Taylor was, we were told, had an appointment at the American embassy to travel to the States. She had an appointment. Where is she today? Let's analyze that.
Where is she today? Do you care to share that with our audience? Where is Justina?
I want to know. I'm asking you. Where is she?
Do you not know, Mr. Gilman?
I don't know. She's not in the States. She's not in America.
The government is responsible for her security, isn't it?
The government is responsible for lives and properties. Every Liberian lives and property. The government is responsible.
And you are in the business of information dissemination, and you have not been able to do some work to ascertain where she is?
I know she's in Liberia. If she's out of there, or she might have traveled clandestinely or elsewhere, but I know she's in Liberia.
What do you mean by clandestinely?
Because nobody knows her whereabouts. Nobody knows if she traveled through the airports, through the roads, and what have you. You know, nobody. They should tell us, where is Justina Taylor? Is she in America seeking attention, medical attention? That was the information. Have we lost track of that? We
that was the information, but she alleged many people. Sorry, Mr. Gilman, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just saying that was the information we had, that she was scheduled for an interview and the government was preventing her. So apparently she did not get the visa. What do you think?
The government prevented her?
That's what was reported, Wiley.
I doubted the government prevented her, though I'm not spokesperson for the government. I doubted, had the government had interest in her as a person of interest who was being treated at the Cali hospital. First thing, understand here, the Good Samaritan that was spoken about was only known and seen by one person. That Good Samaritan took her to the police station, the police depot, where she was left. at the hands of the police. And the police took her to Cali Hospital and began taking treatment. So had the government or the justice system been interested in her as a person of interest that have probably committed a crime or what have you, they would not have let her loose, you know?
So given what you know now, Mr. Gilman, do you want to agree or not that Mr. Henry Pedro Costa is not a terrorist? Because from the story that we're trying to use as an analogy, whether or not his actions constitute what is terrorism, I don't think that's the case. What do you say to that?
You don't use one instance.
Okay.
You don't use one instance to determine who a terrorist is.
Okay.
And if you want to use the Cali Hospital only, then tell me, what did he do there? What did he order there?
Then what are other instances? What are other instances that you can point to?
I will buy guns.
Okay.
I will arm former rebels. At my instruction, they will kill. George Weah, we will drag his head like a market dog on the streets. He will not be on the ballot 2023. In fact, he will not end 2020. We will hold police hostage. We will hold police hostage. And if I'm not allowed to leave the airport, the terminal within 30 minutes, get ready to build a brand new terminal.
And those were the words of Mr. Henry Pedro Costa?
I can put them on the screen for you, the video.
No, it's okay, Mr. Gilman, leave that. Let's just continue the conversation.
Those were his words. And I can play the video for you if you don't mind, for your audience.
I listened to the video and many people might have too.
Yeah, am I wrong for that? Did I misquote him?
You are correct. I listened to the audio.
Right. So,
but Mr. Gilman, there is something. Hold on, Mr. Gilman. There is something called freedom of speech or expression.
And so you don't go in the theater, okay, because you have the freedom of speech. You don't go in the theater or crowded theater and say fire when there's no fire. Okay. Do you?
And when you do that, what happens?
You bear the full responsibility.
And so who determines that?
Who determines that is the law.
Okay. And who's the law here? You?
I'm not the law, but I have, in this country where we are, Mr. Sear, okay, you know, the people say, if you see something, say something. Okay. The terrorist may be next door. You be your neighbor that you don't know about, or that you think he's just or she's just a calm, cool, collected person. And they've been piling up arms. They've been reading materials, researching and reading materials, how to carry on mass shooting at a mall, at a school, at a theater, or at a park, whatsoever. And you probably spotted this person one day and they were bringing in a long box. It was heavy. And you didn't say anything. And then, bam, the incident happened.
Mr. Gilman, somebody said Henry Pedro Costa does not have a history of this kind of violence that you are talking about. So maybe he was frustrated about something, because as you are aware, Mr. Gilman, there is
a pattern here.
Okay.
All right.
What is that is?
Charles Taylor was never a rebel, was never a soldier.
Okay.
Okay. All we knew, he was in prison in a Boston, Massachusetts cell. And next thing, he broke jail. In this country, how did he get to Liberia? Well, Ellen Salif can probably tell us, because she contributed or donated the first $10,000, according to her. In her book, This Child Will Be Great. Okay? And he was in Liberia. And he was in the bushes of Butuo, Nema County. And we started to hear all of those messages, those information on BBC.
Mr. Gilman, let me hold you there and push you by a little bit if you don't mind, my brother.
Go ahead.
Unlike the case you are talking about with Mr. Taylor and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, these individuals were not talking about peaceful protest. Mr. Herring Pedro Costa, I'm not defending him, it's just to discuss the issue.
We are holding a conversation, and it's great.
The opportunity to respond as it should be. Mr. Herring Pedro Costa, is this protest guy now we've come to know, June 7, and now then came July 24 that was not held, and I think that was December 31st that was never held. Is this protest guy, I mean, this guy, I don't know, but Taylor issue, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf issue, these people never set date for any of the events that brought the war that you are talking about. So someone would say this is completely different. What do you say to that, Mr. Gilman?
They didn't set date, or they didn't announce their date, but they had a date set. Okay? They did not announce their date to the world, to Liberians, but they had
a warfare.
But they had a date set. They didn't just wake up and go. The thing was planned, it was masterminded, and it was orchestrated to the letter. Understand that. They didn't have to announce a date. What this young man has done is a broad daylight terroristic plot on our country, using pieces of provision within our Constitution to orchestrate, to carry out his plans, like peaceful assembly. How do you hold a press conference as one of the ringleader? I'm talking about the Mo Ali press conference.
Okay.
When he's talking about this is going to be a peaceful assembly, and you have people behind him holding placards that says, "We must step down December 30th." What do you make of that? What do you make of, yeah.
Mr. Gilman, we were talking about freedom of speech earlier. Don't you see it that way? Isn't that the right of an individual looking at freedom of speech to say, hey, Mr. President, I think you should step down? I mean, it's left for the president to say, no, I'm not stepping down. So how does that constitute
and we've gone back to the same freedom of speech scenario again. Okay. You cannot shout in the theater, fire, when there's no fire. Okay? Your freedom of speech, your freedom of assembly should not infringe on my rights to freely speak as well. Do you know these guys that are preaching all of this freedom and social justice and reforms are themselves the worst and most people that censor the free speech? Do you know that?
Man, hold it there. Again, folks, in cyberspace, you have just joining us. This is the Hour of Politics on this network focused on Liberia. My name is Anthony Sear, your humble host here this evening. We have with us the man, Mr. Michael Gilman. He's in a hot seat. He seems ready to answer the tough question, and he's not going to get it easy yet because this is the Hour of Politics on this network focused on Liberia. Mr. Gilman, back to you.
Right.
So it is your fear about the December 30th peaceful protest that's been announced by Mr. Pedro Costa and some members of the COP, for which you organized your December 13th protest. Someone would think that was counter-protest. I mean, tell us.
First and foremost, there is no fear. There was no fear in us. There hasn't been fear in anybody organizing a peaceful protest.
If you are not afraid, why are you running to Washington?
Let me answer your question. Your question was kind of loaded. Let me answer them.
Go ahead, Mr. Gilman. Go ahead, Mr. Gilman.
Thank you.
Highly protected.
There was no fear. There is no fear.
Okay.
And there will never be any fear.
Okay.
To be concerned about our country. Our organization, our march on Washington, our presence out there in the ice ring was not about fear for December 30th planned protest. It's the concern that we have as a people, peace-loving people, that this planned protest is not about peace. It's not going to be peaceful. All of the elements of war, chaos, were already laid out. They've already been told to us. Why are we not keen to these things? Why should we play? We did not go to rally in Washington, D.C. And you call it protest? It wasn't a protest because we went there to create awareness, to bring attention to what is yet to happen in our country. Okay? We went there as concerned group. And the Capitol Police and everybody we interacted with before going there, they look at us, they consider us, our presence there as a demonstration of concern to the world, to Congress, to the American people, to all those countries of the world that brought about peace and stability in our country. So it was never about fear. It was being concerned that, again, the evil hands of December 24th is once more creeping up into December 24th, 1989, is once more creeping up in our country.
So, Mr. Gilman, what was actually accomplished, my brother? What was actually accomplished?
A whole lot was accomplished.
Tell us.
A whole lot was accomplished.
Tell us.
Liberians, first and foremost, at home and abroad, across the world, came together under one canopy of being concerned about peace, security, protecting our democracy. That was one. Never has it been seen or heard of anywhere that Liberians around the world will rally under peace, just so that peace prevail in our country. Tell me one. All of the marches that ever happened in Washington, D.C. by Liberians were either to bring sanction against the government, ask Uncle Sam to let the government go, or maybe go there for DED or TPS. All right? This was the first time that we went out there as concerned Liberians to say, hey, enough is enough.
Enough of what is enough, Mr. Gilman? Enough of what is enough?
Enough of the crisis, enough of war or violence, enough of raping and killing people. 250,000 lives is enough.
Mr. Gilman.
Yeah.
So you went to Washington. Your group protested simultaneously, Washington, Monrovia.
We demonstrated. We demonstrated.
You just went there to beat war drum, isn't it?
We did not beat war drums. War drums we beat over there were peace. Okay. Defending democracy. Those were the drums we beat there. Okay. You heard the prayer by Zach Roberts from Zach and Jiba. You heard the speeches from various speakers before the petition. You heard all of that. You heard our brothers and sisters who paraded the streets in Monrovia. You heard their cries. We want peace. No more war. You heard it. Okay? Now, tell me, they are on the ground in Liberia, in Monrovia, and they are telling you, we want peace, no more war. And we are here in America, across the world, Australia, Europe, China, you name it, everywhere Liberians are.
Mr. Gilman.
Yeah.
The Liberian Civil War ended more than 15 years ago now. Why are we singing this song and beating this war drum?
Because folks that are singing this song and beating this war drum are not being addressed properly by some folks in the media. And they think we, the concerned Liberians, are the ones that are singing and beating the war drums. Okay? We are only trying to silence those war drums that are being beaten by the terrorist Costa and accomplices. When you say in Africa, you are going to drag a president head on the streets like a market dog, you're going to hold police hostage.
That is just a
What?
man threat, Mr. Gilman. Does he have the capacity to do so?
They said if a snake bites you once
Yeah.
and you saw a worm, you will run. Yes, he has the capacity. He did it at Catholic Hospital. He can do it again.
And that's the only one you know of.
It doesn't have to be the only one. It doesn't have to be the only one.
It could be the only one. And people say it was peaceful, Mr. Gilman.
How peaceful was it?
No one died.
Didn't you see the video? When people blockade the roads, the route up, the curbs, the sidewalks, and barricade the roads, stop traffic.
Isn't that what is called civil disobedience, Mr. Gilman?
I don't know. How do you define civil? What do you know about being civil? Civil means what? Polite, right?
And there's a word behind a disobedient.
So then you were disobedient. You were not civil.
Yeah, civilly.
No, you were destructively disobedient. You destroy properties. All right? We cry for development in our country. We want roads. And people are routing up the roads to block traffic, to barricade, to stop police from going.
Uprooting the roads? Eh? Uprooting the roads, you said?
You didn't see that?
I did not see that. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but I'm just asking questions. I'm playing my role.
The sidewalk, those curbs that were protecting the roads from erosion.
Okay.
They routed them. Bacale Junction, Tottenham Boulevard, going to Sophie, coming back to Scarborough, those areas. They uprooted the sidewalks.
Okay,
that's destruction of property.
Okay,
that wasn't civil, right?
Okay, Mr. Gilman. Again, folks, in cyberspace, if you have just joining us, this is the hour of politics on this network focused on Liberia, and I'm your guy, your only host here on this network this evening, Anthony Taylor. I have with me the man, Mr. Michael Gilman, the host of the GD Hard Talk, and we got him in the hot seat. He came to play hardball, and we will do it. Mr. Gilman, someone listening to you might be thinking that this man is protecting something. Apparently, he's trying to protect his interest or his political benefactors. What do you say to that person, Mr. Gilman?
The person may be living in utopia. We don't have a political benefactor.
Okay.
Neither do we have any political interest. Okay. We have interest in our country and people, that their safety, their peaceful coexistence, their livelihood must not depend on somebody trying to, pocket a few dollars about themselves. It should not be about somebody being so concerned about themselves. Where the bargain or these style of protest and what have you. Every 6 months there's a protest by this man, and then he goes all out, try to arrange so as to buy him out of the protest. He did it June 7th. June 7th. He was paid $200,000.
Mr. Gilman, are you saying Mr. Henry Pedro Costa cashed out June 7th?
He did.
No, you don't have proof. You don't have. What's your proof, Mr. Gilman? This is a serious.
My proof. We made a story. We wrote the story on May 25th this year, that Henry Costa had an emissary in Ghana, a member of the lower house of representatives, and I will not say his or her name.
Oh, you are a coward to do that?
No, that's not being cowardized. I'm protecting my source.
All right. I respect
that. That's not being cowardized.
I respect that, Mr. Gilman.
I'm protecting my source.
Okay.
A member of the lower house was his agent and emissary to Ghana. We reported that story May 25th. that $200,000 had changed hands. And May 28th, we discussed it on our platform. And folks who follow our story that come to our platform every evening, some of them that sympathize with the government as well as seditious themselves sometimes, they were very much concerned. They were agitated. They were annoyed.
Did you mean to say those that sympathize with the government just as you are?
Let me explain to you.
Okay.
And they said, Mr. Gilman, are you serious? $200,000? Why should the government pay this man $200,000?
Oh, that was the next question I was bringing. So he cashed out June 7, allegedly, as you are alleging.
So let me explain the whole. Let me explain the story. So let me explain the story. You asked for proof. You asked for proof.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring you to the proof.
Go ahead.
So I told the folks, I said, look, like we stated earlier on, that government is responsible for every life and property. I said, such is the time, such is the condition. Just like we didn't know we would have gone to Washington, D.C. and stood up or paraded or danced out there in the ice rain, you know. And we said, what did we say when we were out there? It's best that we embrace the ice rain than to hug bullets in our chests, in our heads. Say it's best that we did that. So it was best that government did that. We did not know what June 7 would have been. But after we made that pronouncement, we broke that story. Costa, the terrorist, did not speak to it until about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, on his platform, nobody asked him any question. After he announced several weeks ago that he took $5,000, Carrasco, the special aide to the president, took $5,000 to him. And he said, Carrasco told him that money was not. He wanted to give, 1 second, let me finish up. Let me give you the proof.
Mr. Gilman, I'm here to give you time. You are the man of the hour. I'm here to give you time, my dear brother. But what I'm trying to bring in here is, earlier you said he cashed out 200,000.
Yes,
and now
he did.
You're trying to confirm it or to put some evidence around it, and you are talking about 5,000. I mean, so I'm confused.
Yeah, I want to tell you, he announced before he gave the confirmation of the 200,000, he announced that he took $5,000 from President George Weah. He said Carrasco took it to him, and folks argue, oh, he worked for it. And then about 3 weeks ago on his platform, nobody asked him. The same way he came out to announce 5,000 on his platform, he came out again and announced that look, folks, let me tell you, I'm paraphrasing what he said. Let me tell you, on May 15, 2019, the government sent emissary, the same word that I used, emissary, same location, Ghana. The government sent emissary to me in Ghana. They tried to give me $200,000 to forget about June 7th, and I turned it down.
I turned it down. Okay.
But he took 5,000.
Okay.
And now he turned down 200,000.
So you are
and we reported. Listen, one more.
Mr. Gilman, hold on, Mr. Gilman. Hold on, Mr. Gilman. So you are assuming that how can a man take 5,000 and refuse 200,000? That is no way possible. So he took the 200,000.
That is not an assumption.
What that is?
I'm not making an assumption.
Okay.
I'm indicating here that he took $200,000. I'm not making an assumption. And we also just reported about 2 weeks ago that Henry Costa, and I signed off the challenge to him and his followers and everybody about he requesting $60,000 from a higher up in government, so that December 30th is no more.
And who is that higher up?
We will not disclose the name. I want him to deny it because there is a recording to that effect. If he denies it, we will.
Can you play that recording for us?
Not tonight.
All right.
Yeah, I want him to deny it. You know, we are all in information dissemination, and we do research and background investigation and what have you. And I'm telling you, you know what did he tell his folks in the Philadelphia, Delaware area about the 60,000?
You tell us.
He told people just a few days ago that because they asked him, they said, Gilman challenged you. He said, oh, don't mind that man there. He's just looking for notice. He said, but the truth of the matter here is I was trying to get the government, and they gave me the money that was going to expose them. That they gave me money to water down the December 30th protest. You can take that to the bank.
So all you're trying to say here is that Mr. Herring Pedro Costa cannot be trusted? Is that what you're trying to say?
He's never been a trusted person. Has he been trusted?
Are you one of those who see him as a blackmailer, Mr. Gilman?
He confirmed to me that he is an extortionist or blackmailer.
No.
He confirmed. Let me tell you where and when. He confirmed to me on February 14th this year when he appeared on my show unannounced, impromptu, after we've invited him several times. And he said, no. But then one day he showed up on February 14th this year. And I asked him, did you hear that tape about the $50,000? He and somebody was talking on the phone. Did you listen to that tape?
No, I did not.
Okay, the tape is on our page. And I asked him, I said, are you the one, that voice, is that you on that tape? Talking about, he said, which tape, Mr. Gilman? There are several tapes. I said the one talking about 50,000. That the Salif government should give you 50,000, and then you should get a $5,000 monthly pay. He said, what really do you want to know, Mr. Gilman? I said, I want to know whether that's you. He said, and then what? I said, then the next question will follow. He said, okay, yes, that was me.
And he admitted.
But he admitted. He said that was him.
So, Mr. Gilman, let me bring the question in. Hold on there. Let me bring the question in. If you are trying, because the narrative that you are giving is suggesting to me, and correct me if I'm reading you wrong, that Mr. Pedro Costa is in this to cash out at the end of the day. And so why are you also saying that he's bringing war? Is that a tough one for you to answer?
Is that a tough one? It's not a tough one.
It choke you, but go ahead.
No, it did not choke me either.
Okay.
All right. I've come here, let me tell you, I've come here not with even my regular tea or coffee that I come with on the show. So you will not see me drinking anything throughout the show here tonight.
You're not going to play Marco Rubio.
No way.
Again, folks in cyberspace, this is an hour of politics with me, your humble host, Anthony Cyr. I have the man with me, Mr. Michael Gilman of the GDA Hard Talk in the Hard Seat. He's on the hour of politics on this network focus on Liberia to play hard politics. Mr. Gilman, you are about to explain something. Go ahead, sir.
Right. So Costa confirmed to me. Not only did he confirm that that was him on the tape, but he said, Mr. Gilman, let me tell you something. If you reach my level, the government will make deals. They will cross deals with you. All right? I said, deals? He said, yes. What kind of deals? He said, that's what I was doing on that tape. I was countering. He said, you're counter-proposing to the government. But if you listen to the tape, the government did not say we will give you 5,000 or 10,000. He's suggesting to the other party, say, look, tell them, give me 50,000. Then I give up 50,000. Let's start from 50,000. You know, they will try to back in or come down. So that was the first proposal. That wasn't a counter.
Mr. Gilman,
All right?
let me remind you of my question again.
Yeah.
All right. From what you are explaining, anybody listening to you will understand that you're trying to suggest to others, Mr. Costa is in this protesting to cash out at the end of the day. But you went to Washington, D.C., you said in one of your appearances before your protest that you were going to meet with a speaker. So this person, like you are trying to portray now, is doing all this just to cash out. But then you were there telling the Americans, telling the Liberian government and many other Liberians across the world that this man is bringing war. Is that not a contradiction, sir?
It's not a contradiction.
How?
Good, good. It's not a contradiction because I told you earlier on, there was a meeting held in Delaware of former government officials and Henry Costa. And Henry Costa would go on his platform and announce something big is about to happen. I will not tell you just yet. Something big. George Weah, straight from that something big is about to happen. He said, George Weah will not end 2020. We will drag him like market dog. In fact, forget it. He will not be on the ballot come 2023. Okay? On the same tape, he's talking about holding police hostage.
Mr. Gilman, you said that earlier. Let me bring you to this point.
Yeah, but that's you're going back to the question. So it begs the same answer.
I agree with you.
That's how consistent we are.
Let me bring a different question then. Let me bring a different question then, Mr. Gilman.
Right.
Let me ask you this question. Are you a quibbler? The word quibbler is someone who is a disputant, meaning who dispute facts. Are you a quibbler, Mr. Gilman?
No, I'm not here disputing the facts. I'm here narrating the facts.
Okay, if you are not here to dispute facts, then who are you? Are you an attacker? Or are you a defamer or maligner, somebody who maligns somebody's character?
No, I'm not a one of those. What we do here is to tell it as it is, to explain, to narrate, to research and inform people, all right, about the true nature of an issue or case or whatever. We are not here to defame anybody because we don't like them, because they got something that we don't have. No, we are contented with where we are. We look. If you are that person who see the next man as yourself, you know, you are so concerned about this person's growth, development, productivity, or, you know, what have you, well-being, just like you will have yourself be, or your kids, or your family member. If you are so much concerned about that person, you will not be so, you know, like what we see in our folks, people who advocate for social justice, for reforms. You will not see their disposition towards the Liberian people so disproportional to exactly what they are talking about. You know, it's like, do what I say, but don't do what I do. They tell you something. They tell you something.
Gilman, the man, Mr. Michael Gilman, they're playing hardball on the Hour of Politics here, focus on Liberia. This is the reason I asked those few questions using the words and all that. You appear on Freedom FM. I listened to you.
Right.
You called the name of Yasini Martin Kpe. You called the name of Pat Zawiya.
Right.
As those who attended the Delaware meeting you mentioned earlier. And you made it clear that... No. Correct me, Mr. Gilman.
Yasini Martin Kpe or Gabriel Mongo Zawiya were never mentioned as people who attended the Delaware meeting.
So when you mentioned their name in that interview, correct me if I'm wrong. Why were you talking about them at the time?
You might have heard a different segment of the interview on Freedom FM.
Okay.
When their names were brought up.
Okay.
But the story is there. They were never at the Delaware meeting. No, we did not say they were
Mr.
at the
Gilman,
Delaware meeting.
I will maintain my information. I have the recording or I have the audio.
Yeah, you can do us a favor.
Hold on, Mr. Gilman. And I could be wrong, but this is what I remember. And I listened to that video just today because I know you were coming and I needed to ask the question.
Right.
When the gentleman put you, are there other Liberians in this business you are talking about? And you say yes. And he put you and you call Zawiya, and you call Yasini Mantinkwe.
Yeah, so but the question you just asked,
okay,
needed to be answered correctly and adequately. You asked about Delaware meeting.
Go ahead, Mr. Gilman.
And they were never at Delaware meeting.
Okay.
If they are accomplices to Henry Costa, ask that question, and I will tell you, say yes, they are accomplices to Henry Costa.
Except but they were never at the Delaware meeting.
They were never at Delaware meeting, and I did not say they were at Delaware meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gilman. Again, folks, in cyberspace, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia on our program, The Hour of Politics, and I am your one and only humble host here, Anthony Sieh. The man, Mr. Michael Gilman, is playing on the Hour of Politics. Mr. Gilman, another question for you. Are you a nitpicker? Are you a mud-slinger? Let me define those words for you.
I am. Let me tell you before you go to your definition. I am analytical. I am analytical.
Okay.
I am what I do for living that put bread and butter on my table for my family.
Okay.
It's research and professional development.
Okay.
So I am analytical.
And none of those adjectives apply to your person?
No, I'm not a nitpicker. Nitpicker, you know who that is. Every little thing they.
And then my next question to you is, Mr. Gilman, are you selective in your dissemination of information or in your advocacy in some way with the dissemination of information? And this is why I asked the question. Let me give you some background.
Right.
Prince Johnson, a known war criminal in Liberia, at some point said, if anybody attempts to arrest him, the military of Liberia will be divided and there will be war. At the 9 years, my friend, Mr. Gilman, organizing a protest for fear of war from an individual who has a unique and brutal history of war. You did not. But you are doing this thing, organizing protests for the fear of war. That's why I asked the question, is Mr. Gilman selective? Go ahead.
But we not organizing against Prince Johnson does not negate the fact that we have discussed him, his actions and inactions, what role he played in our country's political discourse or war and what have you. We've never been that organization. Now you're speaking in terms of Jide Hard Talk. Jide Hard Talk have never shy away from the news of the day, such that when Moba Molu, the chairman for the CDC, came out most recently in that press statement, we categorically said that will land him in trouble, because what he stated was the same exact thing the acting chairman for CDC USA did when the president was here at the 74th General Assembly. All right, that there are opposition in the government that need to get gone or get going, that the president or the government need to audit people or that are building houses so that their names can be cleared out, that they have not embezzling monies. And I said, knowing all of what is out there in the public about this president, that people are saying he came to be before he started building his estate. And then you, party chairman, you will come out and make such pronouncements. You will come out to talk about opposition are being kept in the government. Don't you have a communication link with the president? Can't you see the president? Can't you call meeting of party hierarchy or structure and discuss these things?
Freedom
you want to call a press conference? You know, and I said it. So that is to tell you that we are not selective in our discussions. No, we are not.
But you are sympathetic to the government.
You can say that a million times.
And that won't even matter.
It will not matter because you know what? I don't have to be friends with George. George Weah does not know me. He does not know me. I've never shook his hands before. I never stood 5 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet, or even 100 yards from him before. Never. We went and saw him play soccer. After the game, we all got in our cars and left. If we had a car at the time.
Maybe there's a middleman, Mr. Gilman.
There's a what?
Maybe there's a middleman. Is there a middleman?
No. No, don't even think about it.
I was just asking a question, Mr. Gilman.
Yeah, I understand, but don't even think about it. There is not a middleman, and there will not be a middleman, you know? So what I want to say here is we are not selective in our discourses or discussions.
Let me push you again, Mr. Gilman, on the issue of being selective. Let me push you again. Again, folks, in cyberspace, as you have just joined in, we are with the man, Michael Gilman of Jida Have Talk. Let me push you again on being selective.
Right.
General Power threatened to organize a crew defense force. Where were you? Another one. General Power and other ex-combatant rebel generals had threatened to arrest an elected government official. Where were you? You did not organize a protest for fear of war.
And who's the elected government official?
Does it matter?
Yes, it matters.
Mr. Honorable Yeke Koluba.
Yeke Koluba. Okay, good. First and foremost, General Power, Yeke Koluba, they all speak the same language. All right. While we do not condone violence of any sort, Yeke Koluba, you call him honorable, but I call him representative or Mr. Koluba, because nothing he has shown that is honorable of him. They understand the language that they speak. All right. So, General Power, his situation was handled by the government. He was arrested and put in jail. Okay? Unlike Yeke Koluba.
General Power was arrested for the comments he made or the statement he made?
He was arrested. Didn't he go to jail? Didn't he go to jail? No, didn't he go to jail?
Go ahead.
He was arrested and sent to jail. Yeke Koluba remains on the street, citing violence, telling the president, elected president, that he's just a squatter. And he's asking former Vice President Joseph Boakai and Bernard Ure and others sitting on the platform, just give us instruction. We will move, and this president will be no more. He just got 3 months.
Move where?
I told you they understand the language they speak. Didn't you see that broadcast? The power that Yeke Koluba was speaking to Joseph Yuma Boakai, and others gave us the instruction, we will move. This president is just a squatter.
Mr. Gilman,
Yeah.
hold on. Yeah, this is Representative Yeke Koluba. If I should follow your way of referring to him, Mr. Koluba,
Right.
you know, has a history of war. He was a general, I believe. He fought the war.
Right.
And he said that just give our instruction and we will move.
Right.
Yet, given his past, you didn't care to organize a peaceful protest to be your war drum, but a radio talk show host is talking about peaceful assembly, and then you run into Washington, D.C. with your war drum.
And who are his collaborators?
I don't know them. Tell us.
Is Yeke Koluba part of the COP? Is Daros Delon part of the COP?
Yes, the two of them are.
Is Mo Ali part of the COP?
Yes.
Where did December 24th, 1989 originate from? The Americas. Where did Council of Patriots originate from? This is the book. This is the book, Council of Patriots. Okay? A book that this young man have fashioned his organization after, Council of Patriots.
Is there anything wrong with that?
A whole lot is wrong with it.
What is wrong with it?
Because the teachings of this book tells you how to blackmail, how to go between two, you're making deals with two parties, all right? And, you know, just on the back of the book, just the back of it.
You want to read something for us?
It tells you a beautiful woman is butchered. A congressman is blackmailed. A secret cabal of Japanese imperialists. A small group of retired politicians formed to protect America. The Council of Patriots is born. All right?
Does that talk about war?
Retired. No, I'm telling you the historicity of wars in our country. That it originated from here. Okay?
But we're talking about the book because he said that's the book he read, and the name of it is Council of Patriots.
That's the teachings of the book.
In that book,
the teachings. Listen, that's the teachings of the book that is being exported to our country.
Making
and you know another thing. And you know another thing. And you know another thing that is being exported to our country.
No,
is the Hitler doctrine, Adolf Hitler.
All right, let me fit there. Let me fit there, Mr. Gilman.
When Hitler said, let me finish out this quote about Hitler.
Okay.
Hitler said, you don't have to go to the ballot box waiting. Just get on the streets, march to the Capitol, and say, give me power. Hitler did that. Daros Delon and Henry Costa sat in the studio on December 27, 2018, and said, we don't have to wait for 2023. If we can't do it now, 2023, we'll not have the chance. So they are orchestrating their plans.
Mr. Gilman, Gilman, you know, you and I have been around here. Well, we were around during the presidency of Ellen Johnson. The CDC as a protocol institution, I believe, may have protested more than 20 times. They even went as far as calling for Ellen to step down. What did not come? Because your December 13th protest, hold on.
Okay, finish out the question.
Your December 13th protest was all about a group of people coming like all us days in the past. When I mean all us, because you started Ellen Johnson, Charles Taylor did in the past, and bringing war again. So I see a little bit of contradiction here.
It's not a contradiction. First and foremost, you should state the facts about who called for the 13th. State the facts about who called for Ellen Sirleaf to step down during her time? Was it CDC or was it Vandala Patrick's?
CDC,
It was
himself.
Vandala Patrick.
Listen to me.
It was Vandala Patrick. Let me answer your question.
Vandala Patrick might have called for the step down of Ellen. No, hold on. I know the fact. And I have
okay. Let's hear your side of the facts.
The CDC called for Ellen to step down. We have newspapers in our possession that carry the headline. Listen now, Mr. Gilman. That carry the headline in which CDC as a protocol institution called for Ellen to step down. You are right. Vandala Patrick, and even when Vandala Patrick called for Ellen to step down, he did it in collaboration with seditions or the CDC. Mr. Weah himself is on record for sanctioning and endorsing the step down of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You can. Do we have
a Weah endorsement of Ellen Sirleaf stepping down? Can we put that on the screen?
You want us to put this on the screen? Can you put on the screen or play for all the audio in which Costa was soliciting money, but you said you're not going to do it? Or can you even also call the names of the individuals you mentioned as emissary, but you said you cannot disclose? Just hold on now.
Your sources are newspapers. So newspapers cannot be concealed.
How is that different?
Your sources are newspaper.
Okay.
Okay.
And you want me to do that now, but
newspaper articles.
To do yours at the time I asked you.
No, your sources are newspapers articles.
Yes.
They are already published. They're in the public domain.
Okay.
So let's see, where did George Weah say Ellen Sirleaf must come down? Let's see.
I said to you, his endorsement, he sanctioned it, and he having to be the political leader of CDC. And so there's no way you can justify or excuse him for an official position of a political party, he having to be a political leader. But I think let us leave it there and move to another thing. You deliver. Okay.
If you say so. If you say so, you ran away from your own question.
No, I am not, Mr. Gilman. You know, in this business, we are pressed time. All right. And let me tell you, Mr. Gilman, the newspaper in which let me put an S to the newspapers in which CDC called for Ellen to step down are all over on the internet. Many of our listeners
and you said
followers have those newspaper or have seen the posting of this newspaper. So this is not something that I'm running away. You know that. You have seen some of those. So don't try to make me to know that I'm the
Did I put you in a hot seat?
Yeah. This is the hour of politics with me, Anthony C. On this network focus on Liberia. I have the man with me, Mr. Michael Gilman, who is trying to play hardball. And here I focus on Liberia. On this program, the Hour of Politics, we do play hardball. Mr. Gilman, when you gather in Washington, you had a petition.
Right.
Let's go into your petition. But before we do, let us not do our audience some injustice here. Let's read some comments and then we'll go to your statement.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, let's do that. Let me put you on the screen while I read comments. Let's go to our audience. They've been following all your patiently. Let's read some of their comments. The man Christopher Tubase, man do Heron Pedro Costa Yeke Koloba Ebren Dara DeLong. COP attacks against President Weah and the government of Liberia is dangerous and unwarranted and a direct threat to the rule of law. Sarah Eastman, host Gilman is sweating and you keep pushing questions which are not right, brother. The way you write it, that's how I'm going to read it. We have, instead of has, we have just 72 hours to vacate. Hamilton Tappe, that's true. I don't know what he's referring to. He was elected as well. Lauren Solonte, he was arrested and sent to jail. I think that person is talking about General Power there. CC Dennis, one of your men who organized your protest. Right. The safety of our society must be our patriotic must be our patriotic, he said, and not selective. I don't know what he's trying to say there. Power was never sent to jail, somebody said. Then another person, right, he did not go to jail. They are disputing why you said, Yeke look like any honorable to you host, so you people are the ones supporting Magda Yeke's nonsense. Sarah Eastman, Gilman, you are lying. Power was never jailed for that statement. They are coming after you, my brother. Educate this moderator, Mr. Gilman. My man, they say you are here to educate me. I love education. We must express devotion with vigorous support to our nation. Jerry say, I give you 100%, Mr. Gilman. My man, you got a pat on the back there. The people say,
Right.
Mr.
Right.
of FOL. So all those people you are talking for, you enjoy them, or you did not see the Liberian war. Keystone West said, Mr. Gilman, please don't waste your time on this show. This guy is not on serious business. That person is coming after me so hardly. Sissy Dana is getting, he said, Anthony, I'm not Anthony, I'm Anthony.
Anthony.
Of the book. The teaching of the book spells out violent and brutal behavior. Talking about the book you are showing us there.
Right, right.
The other, December 13 was never a protest, Mr. Moderator. He said December 13 was never a protest against force in cyberspace in a very, we will soon post our number here so that we can give you the opportunity to call. But before we do that, let's go to the petition statement that was delivered by the concerned Liberians who gathered in Washington, D.C. and Monrovia simultaneously to beat their war drum. All right, Mr. Gilman, your petition was very, very loaded. Let me read some area. We can't cover the whole thing because of time, okay?
Right.
You said, now therefore, we concerned Liberians, hold on. Now therefore, we concerned Liberians in the United States of America and in solidarity with Liberians at home and across the diaspora have resolved that, number one, it is the inalienable rights of the Liberian people to live in peace and enjoy the freedom and security as provided for by the Constitution. Be it further resolved that we concerned Liberians are weary and agitated by the indoctrination of Liberia's future, the youth into violence and lawlessness by Henry Pedro Costa and accomplices. And be it further resolved that the thought of holding police officer hostage is not only criminal, but an act of terrorism and must be investigated. And be it further resolved that rearming former rebels of the Liberian Civil War, instructing them to kill and destroy or cause to destroy the newly built Rabat International Airport in Mangibi County is not only an act of war or terror, but also an economic crime that must be investigated.
Right.
Let's stop there, Mr. Gilman, and ask you a few questions for that.
Right.
So you're talking about police being held hostage, and you are talking about it. We welcome that to talk about what you see to be police people being held hostage, but we did not hear you say anything about Mr. Augustine Weah, a cousin or man claiming to be cousin of President Weah, who said that he is a businessman who carried a company into Liberia. He alleged that at some point he was held into the police cell for 7 days without any due process, and that Good Samaritan helped him to get out of the country. We did not hear Mr. Gilman talking about that, and he did not mention that in his petition, except for the one about Henry Pedro Costa. Are you selective?
Not selective, and thank you for that. If you you read the resolve portion, but what were the basis for those that you just read? If you go to page 1 of the petition, at the 3rd paragraph, and it reads thus: whereas Liberia and the United States of America enjoys a long-standing bilateral as well as multilateral agreements and relationships that engender peace, security, freedom, democracy, and economic stability. And whereas Liberia's founding and Declaration of Independence is the result of the American Colonization Society, which was founded to repatriate free slaves or men of color back to Africa. And whereas Liberia's constitution, national symbols, holidays, and system of government with 3 equal branches of government is a direct reflection of the United States government. And whereas the Liberian Civil War, which lasted 14 years, was planned, masterminded, and orchestrated by Liberians or descendants of Liberia who resided here in the Americas. Now, if you look at that, all of the resolve were derived from these arguments that we made. All right? We talk about peace, freedom, defending democracy, and what have you. And that's what you read in that the first 3-4 results. All right? That every Liberian has a right to live freely, peacefully. All right? That the youth of our country, their future, is being damaged by this terrorist, Henry Costa. All right? Holding police officers hostage. All right? Rearming former rebels. Okay? Think about those free men of color that went to Liberia, that sought freedom. And when they went, what did they do? They didn't want to be held hostage, bondage anymore. They declared independence. They fashioned our Constitution after the United States of America. Our flags, our national symbols, everything after the United States of America. After 14 years of civil war, do we want to go back there? I categorically say no.
Mr.
So
Gilman,
if you say, why didn't you mention Gus Weir? We hosted Gus Weir on our show, and we asked him all of the questions similar to what you are just asking here about him and his time.
I listened to the show.
Yeah, his time in detention and what have you. All right. Think about how did he leave? Think about how did he leave Liberia?
Can you hold, please?
Yeah. Think about how did he leave Liberia? He was held for 7 days. Were there any charges? You know?
Mr. Gilman,
But yeah.
Mr. Gilman, let me bring, I will have to push you over and over on being selective. And maybe that explains your revelation that you might be sympathetic to this government. Because all I gather from you here is that Costa is a man of violence, fomenting violence, that has the propensity or proclivity to bring the war. This is how Ellen Taylor and other people behave in the past and war came. But you are not talking about the conditions of our people that necessitated the individuals to have done what they did. We will come to that. And that's what I'm
So let's go to the conditions of the people.
Yeah, hold on. Before we go there, since you tried to give us the role Herring has been playing, let's look at Jefferson Koji. Jefferson Koji has mental violence against peaceful Liberians. Have you ever condemned him or put him under your microscope? You wanted to discuss those incidents?
If you want to name the incidents, you can go ahead, because we covered Jefferson Koji a whole lot. So
we are aware of Jefferson Koji leading men when they went to District 13. All right, he led men, and there was a clash. There was the two teams, or the two political parties, were having their rally on that very day.
Right.
And violence erupted, and Jefferson Koji led fellow seditions, and there was a clash, and people got hurt. That's one. One instance is on July the 24th, when the second peaceful protest supposed to be held. Jefferson Koji instructed some seditions, and with the help of the police, fired tear gas in Liberty Party headquarters. People got hurt. Jefferson Koji also led men at the campuses of the University of Liberia, and upon his instruction, according to students who were flogged, they said they were flogged on the instruction of Jefferson Koji. Jefferson Koji had an accident in which it was reported a female, an old lady, was killed. We did not hear anything about that. Jefferson Koji is also on record for going after the Solicitor General, or the Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia, Musa Dane, that he does nothing. And he talks to his father like that, and nothing happened. Just a few. Go ahead. And
Thank you.
And you did not say anything.
Thank you. Don't say, I mean, I won't tell you what to say or what not to say, but we cover Jefferson Koji. We cover all, if not all, many of those instances or stories you just provided here. Now, let's go to district number 13. What happened there at district number 13? It was reported by one of the candidates, the young lady who were running on a Liberty Party ticket, that she produced a video that she said she was under attack. Her life is in jeopardy. All right.
Can we take our caller, Mr. Gilman?
Yes, you can.
All right. Caller, your name and where you're calling from. Mr. Dennis, thank you for calling. This is Focus on Liberia. Go ahead, your contribution, please.
I'm not hearing him.
You're not hearing him?
Not at all.
Yeah. Can you speak a little louder? Hello? Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you. I will relay your concern or comments or question. Or then you can call back, please.
Yeah, I can't hear a thing from him.
All right. Yeah, so go ahead. You were talking about Koji.
Yeah, in District 13, you will recall this young lady that was a contestant in our by-elections reported via a live video that her life was in danger. And in fact, Yombly Kanga Lawrence was also there. I'm surprised that you did not talk about Yombly Kanga Lawrence, because she's present almost at every violent situation in our country as well. Everywhere there was a violence with Jefferson Koji whatsoever, Yombly Kanga Lawrence was there. You didn't talk about that. I don't know whether that was selective, but we are not. So she reported that her life was in danger, but in the same token, she had 3 police bodyguards. All right? Ask yourself, where were the police protection that she had? Who took her to safety? They alleged that people got wounded, people got killed. Jefferson Koji is the one who filed a lawsuit against Yombly Kanga Lawrence, senator, and this young lady who were contesting. He filed a lawsuit. You will recall the Justice Minister held a news conference following the Roots FM alleged burglary or armed robbery that was squashed as non-existent. There was nothing like armed robbery. In that news conference, the Justice Minister addressed the issue of District 13 District 10 before District 15 ever came about. And he said they had reached out to this young lady who was on the video stating that her life was in danger to come forth with her complaint, because there was a lawsuit filed against her. Yumble Kanga Lawrence, there's a lawsuit by Jefferson Koji. Okay, so people need to understand that people are just bent.
Koji had not been violent at all, or he had not been involved with any form of violence.
I'm not saying he has not been violent or has not been involved with violence.
And so that suggests to me that he has been violent in some way. Hold on, he has been violent in some way. So if he has been
what I'm saying here is we should all, that's what we do on our platform, that these open-ended investigation by the police, by the Justice Department, are not okay for us. We said it over and over and again. They are not okay because people continue to have the notion that nothing has been done, that Jefferson Koji and agents in the government are parading, committing violence and are parading scot-free. Nothing has been done, whereby these folks are the ones who are filing complaints against people. Okay? Look at district number 15. District 15, where a motor vehicle was used as a shield to launch attack. And that vehicle was supposed to be a bulletproof. But look at how that vehicle was damaged.
Mr. Gilman, Gilman, let me refresh your memory on District 15, what I know for a fact. During the District 13 campaign, our president, the president of the country, was seen in one of the campaign events in that district. They were marching on the principal street of Logantown. There was a casket. On that casket were T-shirts carrying the picture of the CPP candidate, the Collaborating Political Parties candidate, Tara Yuri. T-shirt were placed on a casket bearing her picture. And the president of the republic, who should be the father or is the father of our nation, was in that crowd.
What was symbolic of that?
What was symbolic of that remind us of what the CDC did when they were in opposition, when they were toting caskets. That's what's symbolic of it. What do you say to that?
What I see as symbolic of that was a political campaigin. Let me tell you your question.
That was a casket or Terra Yuri. It could mean to some people that she must be killed. What do you think?
No. My understanding is that I don't defend anybody for wrongdoing, but my understanding of that we are going to bury your political campaign, your political ambition is going to get buried today. Does that make sense? All right. Haven't you heard? Let me make some comparative analysis here.
Please do.
With a statement by Samuel Twer and a statement by a Democrat politician here in the Americas. When Samuel Twer said, we will weaponize our folks with information that they will use. The word weaponized was misconstrued and narrated differently. Democrats, Republicans have all said it here. We will weaponize our bases with information. That does not mean they're going to give you guns, give you arms and ammunition. No, they are saying they will give you the information that you will use to bring down your opponent politically, intellectually.
Mr. Gilman, after Samuel Twer said we will weaponize, Justina Taylor became a victim of weaponization.
No, that was long. No.
He was captured. Can I learn, Mr. Gilman?
No,
Mr.
Justina
Gilman?
Taylor. No, let me say
Mr.
this.
Gilman, can I learn?
No, look at it. Look at his time span.
You don't want me to learn, Mr. Gilman?
No, look at the time span between Samuel Taylor's Samuel Twelve's statement and Justina Taylor's incident. How many months lapsed between the two?
Does the time matter?
It matters.
The time matter?
It matters.
How does it?
Because timeline of events tell the whole story. So are you trying
to tell me why you're saying today will not matter tomorrow?
That's what I'm telling you. Timeline of events matter, in telling the story. In investigative journalism, you want to conduct the timeline of events. What led to Justina Taylor? What led to Samuel Twelve saying we will weaponize our bases, our people with information? You understand? That two distinct issues right there.
Mr. Gilman, let me refresh your memory on this. You were using the US scenario. When the Tea Party rise to political prominence after the overwhelming election of President Barack Obama, the Tea Party got so extreme that members of the Republican Party were seen with arms at rallies. At some point, somebody, a representative for that matter, became a victim. I remember, I think her name is Gabby Gifford. At one of her political rallies, a member of the Republican Party or a Republican voter took a gun, shot her. Today, that woman does not have a normal life. And so when Samuel Twelve said that we will weaponize, a layman will understand it literally. You want to deny that Samuel Twelve did not say that, and that the issue with Justina Taylor did not happen after Samuel Twelve said that. The timeline does not matter. I mean, the length of time does not matter.
Listen here.
I got you choked, Mr. Gilman.
Weaponize.
You need some water? You want to play Rubio?
No, I'm not drinking water. I don't need water.
Go ahead, my brother.
Weaponize is a technical jargon that has been used by politicians.
Okay.
When Samuel Twelve made that statement to weaponize the base, I believe he was using a jargon to say we would supply our people with information that they will use out there. All right? It had nothing to do with Justina Taylor. Justina Taylor issue, let's get to the timeline of Justina Taylor. When did she come to the limelight? It was where? At the elections ground? When she was on video making all those statements. There is arms in Batala on the farm, and George, we have brought in mercenaries and all those kinds of stuff. All right. And she will allegedly be reported missing or adopted.
Drugged,
raped. Drugged. Accordingly, they said that she was drugged, raped.
And she called the name of somebody who is a son with Jefferson County. I think
listen to this. Listen to this.
And that individual is not a suspect as we speak.
No, listen to this. The person would not be a suspect because if you go through what you just described, anybody, be you man or woman, if you went through such trauma and you got your life and you don't go to seek justice, you don't file any complaint, who are you? You know, our advocacy have taken a trend where we teach our people that only violence can be our recourse. Only violence means nobody, don't go to court. You know, you cannot have, hold on. You cannot have a civil society, a government in place with all of the systems working. Whether you trust the justice system or not, give it a try.
Mr. Gilman,
Give it
I
a
think
try.
it matters that the justice system be trusted. If you don't trust anybody, you will not do business with them. So it matters, Mr. Gilman, and I want you to acknowledge that.
Yeah, it matters. But the thing about it, have we tested the justice system?
I would think so, yes. I would think so, yes.
Case in point. Case in point.
Case in point is with Roof FM, very recent. A judge who gave a ruling that the equipment for Root FM be returned was immediately removed or replaced by the president.
Right.
What does that tell you?
The president has appointing powers. He can appoint, he can remove. Who knows whether the president, who knew whether the president was about
to? After a ruling in a case, the president government is being accused of being
listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. What were the facts given in the case? The government said this entity do not have a broadcast permit, do not have license to operate. All right. Did Roots FM go to court with a broadcast permit, with a license? We held it.
So you think the best thing to have done was to allow general power and others to go and seize the equipment in a violent way?
A court order the seizure of the equipment, search, seizure, and arrest. That was the court order.
Your man CC Danny is on the line. Maybe he want to give you some help. Can we bring him in?
He want to add. He's not going to give me help. He want to add to the discourse.
Mr. Danny, let's try this again. Go ahead. Mr. Dennis, are you there? Well, I think he's not there. Mr. Gilman.
Okay, let's do this. What if they call me? I think I can put them through the system. You will be able to hear him or hear whoever wants to call.
Let's try that. Let's try that.
All right, callers. We'll take you on in the order you came in. Call the number here, 313-957-9702, 313-957-9702. You can also call us on the WhatsApp number, 313-957-9702. The WhatsApp number is for those outside the US of A, okay? And we will bring you in the order you came in. I'm not a host, so I would not be selective, with the calls as well.
So, Mr. Gilman, let's go to this other component of our show.
Right.
Again, folks in cyberspace, we want to say thank you for being with us. And those of you who are joining us, we want to say welcome to the program, The Hour of Politics with me, Anthony Sia. This is Focus on Liberia. Yeah, I focus on Liberia.
I got a caller in from Minnesota.
And we promote all things Liberia. Go ahead.
Anthony. Yeah, I got a call, 612-9634. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, hold on one second. Yeah, your name and where you calling from?
My name is Ben from Minnesota. How are you?
Ben from Minnesota. Good. Anthony, can you hear him?
I can hear Ben. Ben, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Anthony asked several questions, some of which might have had my own problem with.
Right.
I will just try to make one or two statements. I don't have a question per se.
Right.
And yeah, so what I really want to say, there is this thing that I've been hearing about why COSTAC, the word that COSTAC use does not pose a threat. I definitely agree with that portion of it. What is does not constitute a threat. But when you are acting upon those words to Liberia to do the things that he said he was going to do, now it becomes a threat. And the nice thing that I also want people to know is that most people have always said that, oh, if the process will be peaceful. And I said, no, it will not be peaceful. And here is the reason why it's not going to be peaceful.
Right.
Because the government said if Costa comes to protest, they will arrest him. And I'm quite sure Costa people will not want him to be arrested. So what will happen? There will be a confusion. And after the confusion, there's a propensity of the thing to go problem. The idea that both sides are saying it's going to be a problem. So why can't Liberians be able to speak true and say, yes, this protest will be violent?
Right.
Because the government said, if you come here, we will arrest you. And Costa people said, no, you will not arrest us. So people on both sides should start lying to us as if this protest will be peaceful. It will not be peaceful. It will be violent.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Again,
thank you, Ben.
Yeah, Ben, thank you.
Anthony, Ben, thank you very much. I got 5 persons on the phone, or Ben have already contributed. So the next person will be Ansun Sese from Canada. And then I got Cecil Dennis, I got LRB Pio, and Lawrence Solonte. Ansun Sese. So folks, don't call right now.
Yes.
Do not, no call right now unless on the WhatsApp line. We got 5 persons. That line is full already. Ansun Sese, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Gilman, thank you.
I'm not the host. Mr. Sia is the host. So,
Ansu, go ahead.
Sia, thank you,
right.
thank you. You see, I just want for us to keep the conversation safer, and we should be honest. Okay, like District 13. You talk about District 13.
Right.
And a little on live video, it said there's barley lying down. Did anyone saw the barley in District 13? People said that Jefferson Kochi was having cutlasses in her hand. You saw the post from Costa. The move, you saw it like they screenshot something on the Facebook. They show it. Besides that, they ever show any post that Jefferson Kochi was marching in a group, killing people, because in Liberia, everybody are journalists, everybody are reporter. And so something happened. If the immediate people that the issue is surrounding, if they're not able to get the source, you will see it from different person. You see, people can make remarks on the social media. No fact is in it.
All right, my brother, I think let's keep your comment, on 1 minute, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Condition is hard in Liberia. No one having that fight. But there is some statement there coming all of the opposition in Liberia. There is no truth. They're blaming the government on a daily basis. See what Dallas did not talk yesterday. They said the government, I'm not saying that thing is right in Liberia like the way we expected, and not like that. People really, really struggling in Liberia. But what is the solution? Even people that, they accuse the government not fit. And this man has been elected, he's the president. That for sure, no one will cancel that.
My brother, the government came as the solution, and so the people expect solution from them. I think you have made your point. Let me go back to Mr. Gilman. Thank you, Ansu, for your contribution.
Thank you, Ansu.
Mr. Gilman, before we take another call, let's do this, all right?
Right.
Before we take another call, let me come back to you. So the whole thing about fear of protest is the fact that protest will bring war. So, Mr. Gilman, can you name me a country that you know of in which protest led to war? Just one.
Libya.
Okay. How did that happen?
They were protesting against the government.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened? It ended up in war. Even our own country, Liberia, what happened there was a form of protest. It was against the government, against Samuel Doe government. People protested at Washington, D.C. that the government should come down.
Okay.
And then the government remained in force, in power. And then what did they do? they talk to Butuo in the bushes. All right. So we have it right here, right before us. The big elephant is right before us.
Mr. Gilman,
Yeah.
in Liberia, what we also know is that when the Bring Back Our Money campaign was launched, Liberia did not go to war. What we also know, on June 7, there was a protest, we did not go to war. What we also know, there have been series of protests at the campuses of—
let's analyze.
Mr. Gilman, let me land. There have been series of protests at the campuses of the University of Liberia. Liberia did not go to war.
Right.
I remember of a protest at the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation. Liberia did not go to war.
Right.
And let me also remind our listeners, in Egypt, there was a protest. You heard about Tahrir Square? Egypt did not go to war. Hong Kong has not gone to war. Tunisia did not go to war. Mali did not go to war. Sierra Leone recently had a protest. Honduras had a protest, they did not go to war. Venezuela had a protest. Haiti had a protest. Sudan had a protest. Even the United States, there have been protests almost every day in the country. We are reminded of the recent protests in France. We are reminded about a protest that was led by Gandhi.
And what?
Let me, man.
Okay.
So this whole news that because there will be protests, so war is imminent, I don't think we should be beating the war drum.
Again, we are not beating war drums. All of those countries you just listed, they had a goal. They had something that they were fighting for, they were protesting against. And that one thing, it did not call. Please mute your lines, folks. Mute your line. I'm not a host here. I will tell the gentleman who is on the line. All of those countries you just listed, Mr. Sear, Hong Kong is protesting for a law that they don't want to take roots in their country.
I agree. And the people
hold on, let me answer you. Let's tell a whole lot of countries. Let me answer. Let me answer. Let me answer your question. Let me answer your question.
Okay.
They are not calling for the government to step down. They are not saying they are going to drag the president or their leader in the street like a market dog. France, the yellow jacket protest has been going on for months. They are not saying Macron should step down. They are protesting for better services, what have you.
And those protests are peaceful, right?
They are.
What constitutes peaceful? Because they didn't say that Macron should step down.
What constitutes peace? What constitutes peaceful is look at the various protests you're talking about, and you are talking about an African country.
But this guy did this June 7. It was massive.
June 7, yeah, they had a massive turnout. But June 7 was compromised. I just told you about $200,000. When I asked Henry Costa, what was the reason behind June 7 on February 14th? He said to ask the government to cancel the fish deal with Senegal. All right, that was his answer, to cancel the fish deal. And then the airport, Fly Liberia Incorporated, to cancel that also. And then what happened? As time went by, they started to add a whole lot of things to it. And then they said they're going to be on the streets until George Weah the president answered all of their demands. They will be on the street until they answer all of their demands.
So,
in
Mr.
fact,
Gilman,
hold on. Let me give clarity. Hold on.
You made your clarity. We heard you.
No. Don't do this, Anthony. Don't do that. Give me one more minute. Yeah, you're the host. But
Yeah.
let me answer your
So
question.
allow the host to interject another question. You have the opportunity to answer.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was trying to say is it because they are saying that the president should step down? Is that a constitutional violation to say so?
It's not a constitutional violation. You can stand up anywhere and say, hey, Judge, we have stepped down. But here is the thing. On June 7, it demanded that they would not give that petition to anybody besides the President, George Weah.
It is their right to do so, isn't it?
And listen to this. When George Weah was not present, Joel Howard Taylor was not present, Henry Costa, who took $200,000, became the government spokesman now. And he's telling his colleagues, let's read the petition. We got half our delegation here, my man, because he had to satisfy his side of the bargain, the $200,000 bargain. He had to satisfy that. He had to show that, yes, I did my part. But you know, I lead a group of people, we all can agree. And
Mr.
so they
Gilman,
never read the petition.
Let's go to the conditions that warrant a protest of this kind, magnitude that we are talking about. Like many other protests in other countries like Sudan, in Haiti, in Venezuela, is because of harsh economic reality, high prices on the market, inflation, the devaluation of the country's currency. These are the reason why many people protest, and Liberia is not an exception. Do you want to agree that Liberians who are calling for these protests have legitimate reasons or not?
Listen, let me tell you something. Protests.
Do they have legitimate reasons?
People may have all sorts of reasons to protest or make their
voices.
Do
they have legitimate reason?
Let me answer your question.
Go ahead.
All right. Protests are not planned for 1 year, 6 months, every 6 months. You know, understand that. Why can't this thing just be spontaneous? Why? Why can't it be spontaneous? To just wake up and say, hey, we see people at water and sewer protesting, they want their salaries. Or the teachers are on the streets, they all go slow. Why it has to be 6 months, 5 months? Why the long preparation? So what are the main factors here that are responsible for this? It's blackmailing, extortion.
And you think there's an agenda?
There's a sinister motive.
Do you know that the protester at the JFK hospital, the nurses, do you know that they plan their protest?
I'm not aware.
Protest must be planned.
They can't be.
A plan can be that people agree that we're going to do this and this is how we're doing it. That is a plan. Do you agree or not?
And so December 24th, 1989 was a plan that was hashed here in Americas. And December 30th is another plan. Now again, it's being hashed here. It's now exported to our country. How's that?
Mr. Gilman, is the president doing a good job for which people should not be thinking about protest?
The president inherited a bad situation, a bad economy, a broke government. He did.
And what was his promise to the people?
He will fix it.
And is he fixing it?
By all measures, yes. And the proof is in the $213.6 million just released.
About a year ago now, Mr. Gilman, the president had an address to the nation in which he said to all bluntly that his government is doing better than his predecessor. Do you believe what the president said when, in fact, during his predecessor's administration, a cup of red was around $25, and during his administration, it is about $50 to $60? Do you believe the president that even though during his predecessor administration, a gallon of gasoline was around $300, but during his administration is around $600 to $700? Is that better?
If you look at the economics involved with that, you will know that in 1980 or 1990, before 1990 July, Liberians bought a 100-pound bag of rice for $28. Today, they are buying 25 kilo, which is 50 pounds for $14.50. Some places $15. Some places $13.50. If you look at the exchange rate when Ellen Sirleaf left power, it was at 130.
Today?
What was it? Today is 187. What was the cost? What was the cost?
The president promised?
No, listen, let me give you some analysis here of your question. Or you don't just answer yes or no to an economic question. You discuss the economic issues that are responsible, or those factors that are responsible for the change in commodity prices.
Is that change coming soon, Mr. Gilman?
Listen, if this government is not doing good, like we've said, we've heard some of our colleagues say, nobody wants to do business with this government. No investment is coming in. And on day one, in the presence of Ellen Sirleaf, Joseph Boakai, who told us they squandered all of their opportunities. Ellen Sirleaf said, when her son took $30 million from NOCA, bankrupted NOCA, she said, leave it with me. No punishment brought upon him. Front Page Africa will report that the next government will suffer a major deficit because of a deficit that this government, Ellen Sirleaf, has experienced. All right? So if you look at all of that, all of the huge salaries that were established by Ellen Sirleaf, the IMF, the World Bank will go behind her, say, you got to streamline, you got to cut down these salaries and what have you. She refused. And this
so
government,
teachers pay, right?
He has done so. He has done so. If you read
the 200 economically,
if you absolutely, if you read,
and is that helping to ease the economic burden on the poor people?
Ask yourself, why did we drop from 212 to 187 today? $213.6 million has just been donated by the IMF.
Mr. Gilman, I have a serious question for you here. What is actually changed, in your opinion? Do you know what has changed?
I know what has changed.
What is changed?
Change is
for the worse or for the better?
Most times you want to change for the better.
Did the government promise or change for the better or for the worse?
It promised change for the best.
The better. And are we getting change for the better, in your opinion?
We are getting there. It will get worse before it gets better. We are getting there.
Does it have to be so?
It's been so. It's been so. The word over. You know, Rome wasn't built in one day. And if this government that inherited, according to Henry Costa, $9 million, but the former executive governor of the central bank, Milton Weeks, said it was $5 million that were left in operation and $150 million left in the reserve. So if they had $5 million and they had half of Ellen Sirleaf's budget year to complete up to July, and they were able to sustain from $5 million. Today, they are paying for October and November salaries. Of $5 million and $150 million in the reserve. You don't think they are doing better? They have streamlined the salaries. They have cut salaries. Nobody in government.
I don't want to believe that they are doing better. Again, folks, in cyberspace, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia on our program, The Hour of Politics, with me, Anthony Sear, playing harbor with the man, Michael Gilman of the GD Hard Talk. And let those cut us hold for now. I want to go at it with you, Mr. Gilman. This is where we talk politics at this network here at the Hour of Politics. Mr. Gilman, earlier you were talking about Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's son, who was head of NOCA, how that institution was bankrupt, the seditions condemn Ellen as being corrupt. I personally agree with them. Many Liberians will agree with them because Ellen took responsibility. Ellen did not prosecute these individuals who were accused of corruption. And so Mr. Change, our current president, the CDC also came to power to correct the wrongs of the past. Why is it that Mr. Weah is not going after this individual, Raboseli, who banned, robbed no car? And
You
Mr.
cannot
Weah,
say, you cannot say,
and
you
Mr.
cannot
Weah will
say,
have to tell us, hold on, Mr. Weah will go on record by telling us it's very difficult to prosecute people who committed economic crime because we are all related. Is that not a letdown?
it's not a letdown. And you cannot categorically say that this government is not going after the previous government or government officials from the past. You will recall, it's only that people are not talking about it, and that's how selective they are in the media. You will recall the government announced a 4.6 billion United States dollars a recovery scheme that is going on. That we got.
Have they recovered a dime?
Let me explain. You asked a long question. Allow me the time, sir. So I'm saying here that the government is going after people from the previous government, be it Ellen Sirleaf or her son, directly or indirectly. 4.6 billion United States dollars that the asset recovery team led by Councillor Arthur Johnson are going after. The government have partnered with 3 different institutions, Grant Thornton and Adest Recovery, including a law firm, the biggest law firm, one of the biggest law firms here in Americas, in New York. The team was just here in America. We interviewed the spokesperson.
Mr. Gilman, somebody will be wondering, what took these guys so long?
It's not so long.
Mr. Gilman, I'm asking this question because George Weah, our president, got elected before Malabio election in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Unlike Mr. Weah, Malabio Anti-Corruption Commission was able to retrieve $18 billion lien from past government officials.
And you know what? You know what? You know what? You know why is that? You know why is that?
A dime.
You know why is that? You know why is that?
I don't know.
Malabio or recovery team is being assisted by people in the media in Sierra Leone, by the citizens. All right, they are being assisted. For our situation, no. Tell me, any one media outlet that ever talked about $4.6 billion.
Is that their job? Is that the job of the media, to be helping the government to find who stole money and who didn't steal money?
So is the media an opposition?
I'm not
in
saying
Liberia?
that. The media is supposed to report what's happening, and the media has reported that the government constituted a committee to go after this money. They've done their part. It's not their job to go look for money. That the government has the power to do so.
But the media has the power to inform the citizenry that
And
this is what
I think the media did. That's how I got to
know. No. The media have not done enough, or even a good deal. They have not done enough.
But they have done a little bit.
You cannot take the publication of such story.
Do we have
one
an
time
information ministry responsible to do this? Do we?
We do. Okay. And they are doing what they can do. But the media has a responsibility to inform the people. And in the absence of that, we have partisan journalists in the country.
Mr. Gilman, the 18 to 20 billion lien recovered by the Anti-Corruption Commission in Sierra Leone, that news was reported by that commission, which is an arm of government. And that's how the media got the information. So I think if the committee set up by the president to carry on this assets recover the first dime, I think the media will be more than glad to report that. Don't you think so?
But if the media is providing that education, that information, that the government is going after people in the previous government, you wouldn't be asking me this question, what is the government doing? Why isn't the government after
I
the
asked the
Ellen
question
Salish?
because this administration is yet to retrieve the first dime, and it's going to 2 years now, whereas
Yeah,
Manabio has recovered $18 billion loan.
18 billion loans. And that's what I'm saying, Mr. Sear.
Okay.
That there are workings of the committee. The committee was just here in America, where they enter into a partnership with this law firm that will go after those assets, those individuals and their assets here in America and elsewhere. The law firm has the capacity to do that. We don't have that in Liberia. Was that reported by the media? No. So we, the citizens, the average person on the street is left with no information.
The media for not reporting something, Mr. Gilman?
I've always said it here that we got angry men in the media in Liberia who...
Mr. Gilman, did you go after the government for not reporting the fish deal?
The government reported the fish deal.
When? After it was exposed, right?
Not when it was exposed. What was exposed was...
It was exposed before the director had a press conference, Mr. Gilman.
No. I hosted the director on this very platform.
After the story was reported or exposed?
No, I hosted her and she gave clarity. You know, it's like Costa coming to the airwave with an article of incorporation for Flower Liberia Incorporated with 31 items on there that they hope to carry out in our country. And then guess what? Out of the 31 items, he did not discuss the buying and leasing of airplanes. He did not discuss the training of pilots. He did not discuss the job opportunities. But
Mr. Gilman,
hold on. He discussed. This is what he discussed. He discussed baggage handling.
Okay.
The cheapest one, he discussed baggage handling.
Yeah.
And then he associated that with terrorism because the company was a Jordanian, has some Jordanian connection. So he said, these Jordanian guys, 2 of them were involved in the 9/11 attack. And when we asked him, he said, we're being technical.
Mr. Gilman, are you ready to play handball?
Let's play.
Okay.
I got folks on the line.
Let's go faster because our
time is a little bit. I got folks on the line. You want to take some callers?
No, let them wait. We are playing handball. I'm playing handball with you. Your man, Dennis, is here on the line trying to give you a little bit of help. President Weah, or the government of President Weah, or our government did not report that the president had acquired a private jet until the story was leaked and the president came and confirmed that yes, indeed, he was given a private jet by his friend to boost his morale.
The president campaigned with a plane and a helicopter and several vehicles. And after he won election, you want him to do what? To ride Pampan? Or fly?
The president was not flying a jet when he was playing football. He did not own one. He did not fly one privately.
When he campaigned,
as he is doing now.
When he campaigned,
want to do so?
When he campaigned throughout our country, he had a plane and he had a helicopter at his disposal. Did we ask where did he get it from?
It was rented, right?
Well, I'm asking you.
Well, my information is that the president has rented that plane, or it was given to him, or it was borrowed to him to run his campaign. He did not own it.
Well, I'm telling you, when he campaigned, he flew in helicopter around the country. He flew in an airplane around the country.
Mr. Gilman, flying a private jet, is that pro-po or un-pro-po?
What constitutes private jet?
Private jet is a jet that someone is using privately for his own convenience, even though his people will be suffering.
Is it his personal plane?
The president told us that his friend gave it to him to boost his morale. So he's boosting your morale with it, isn't it?
Well, we cannot state here emphatically that whatever constitutes private jet is his personal plane. We cannot. So that question, I don't know what answer it begs. But
Mr.
what
Gilman,
yeah.
Mr. Weah has a house on 9th Street that was in a dilapidating condition all along when he was a senator, all along at some point when he had just retired from football. He did not care to renovate it now until he got elected as president. What do you say to that?
It was reported by Carrasco and the deputy press secretary, and I'm calling Carrasco name because the proprietor or owner of Front Page Africa told us when he was at T-Max Gelatin show, Rodney Sear, that he gets information from Carrasco and then he add his own there and publish it. Carrasco told us that that home on 9th Street, the president had willed it to his son, and his son is the one that is undertaking the development there. So I will hope that one day Rodney Sear will publish that story. He will quote Carrasco.
And yet when the news broke out, or when Liberians were shocked seeing the president demolishing his house all those years, Representative Nyomlo said to us, Fla was living before the year cut. Why couldn't they tell us it was President Weah's son who was renovating his father's property that his father has given to him? Why?
You know, when people suggest that they were awarded by the international community for being top 100 investigative journalists in the world, and they cannot investigate a house on 9th Street. How did it get demolished? And who's doing it? Who are the contractors? With whom did they sign this contract? You know, it tells us that journalism in our country needs a lot of room for development. And, you know, it's like the issue with asset declaration. To this day.
You want to go there, Mr. Gilman?
I'm bringing it up.
All right, let me play hardball with you on this one. The president told us that he cannot make his assets public, even though he did in 2005, a copy that I have, even though he did in 2011, a copy that I have, that he cannot do that now just to protect his family, unquote. Is the president not being transparent?
The code of conduct, which clearly deals with asset declaration, was established and signed into law in 2014. In part 10 of that code of conduct, it says, and I'll paraphrase, only by a court or order can an asset declared by any government official will be made public. And so Front Page Africa and Rodney Sear applied to GSC and LACC on August 1st, 2018, after the institution published in a press release that the president had declared his assets. On July 28th, 2018, the president declared his asset. Front Page Africa applied to the GSC and LACC, invoking the Freedom of Information Act to have access to those declared forms. And the GSC and LACC referred him to the civil law court, say only with a court action. Now, ever since then, we have not heard from Front Page Africa.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman. Stay playing hardball, folks, in cyberspace. If you are just joining us again, this is Focus on Liberia. On our program, The Hour of Politics, with me, Anthony Sear, and I'm here to play hardball with Mr. Y. Michael Gilman. Mr. Gilman is yet to drink some water. I think he's doing good so far, but he got me to contend with in this national conversation. And so, folks, please share the video. Stay with us. We will go ahead. Mr. Gilman.
Yeah.
According to the Code of Ethics,
I tell you, I'm taking a musical break. I would have done that for you.
No, according to the Code of Ethics,
right,
any official of government should not take a gift value more than 200 Liberian dollars. President Weah took a gift that is value millions of dollars, talking about the jet plane. And according to our Constitution, anybody who takes a gift of that magnitude that constitutes bribery. Did President Weah commit a bribe that constitutes an impeachable offense?
What we should understand here, first and foremost, I'm not a spokesman for the president, not for the government. And I think these questions are coming about because of our own ability to research and bring you information, development, and news from our country. And so we are being quizzed here, and I love it. Now, here's the thing. We don't have any proof that this president or receive a gift, say, take it, it's for you. If he's loaned the jet, as you are talking about, all right, it's different thing.
Did you say if, Mr. Gilman?
Yeah, I said if.
All right, go ahead.
If he's loaned or borrowed, say, hey, Mr. President, I have a couple of these. You can use this one anytime. All right? That does not constitute gift. Is that plane parked at Robertsfield or Springs? Where does it park?
Still playing hardball, Mr. Gilman. I have another question.
Where is that plane parked?
A 25 million was taken from our national reserve, intended to map our asset liquidity for the exchange rate that was precipitating the high prices of basic commodity, for which the president released a laundry list, did not go well. That money, according to reports, some of the monies were given to businesses that cannot be located on any planet. Something tells me a crime was committed and people should be held responsible. Do you agree or not?
A crime was committed from the inception of the printing of the alleged 16 billion.
Mr. Gilman, I'm asking you about the 25. Please respond to that. We'll get to the 16.
That was the basics. That was the reason why 25 million was infused in the economy, or 17 million.
Mr. Gilman, don't play hardball with me, cat and claw wise. Let's do it straight.
It's not hardball. No, but you have to provide the information to your people. You have to provide the information to your people. You don't leave them hanging. All right? You don't. Now, let's understand why was 25 million was ordered infused in the economy to mop up excess liquidity. You use the word excess liquidity, and you don't want to discuss the origin of that excess liquidity?
Mr. Gilman, I tell you, we will get to that.
Okay, so let me provide you that. All right? It's not a yes or no. And then, like I always tell people, it's not free time ball conversation we hold. We want to move. Tabala will play. So let it play. Let the people understand how the ball left from one goal post to go to the other. Yeah. So
Don't allow yourself to get distracted. We are playing hardball, Mr. Gilman.
No,
This is our
I'm taking your
politics.
course. I'm taking your course. People are calling, they want to participate. And that's what, yeah.
Leave all calls now. Let them enjoy the hardball.
Okay, all right, leave all calls now. Folks, stay with us here. All of you on the line, stay with us. If my host is ready, he will ask me to bring you in. But just stay in and listen on. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman. Playing hardball still.
Right.
I asked you about the $25 million.
Right.
Do you believe that money was appropriately and judiciously applied? I was intended.
It wasn't 25 million that was in fact issued. The president ordered, let me answer. The president ordered the infusion of 25 million to mop up excess liquidity. We will later learn that out of the 25, 17 million was used. Now, you want to know whether crime was committed?
Yes.
All right. Now, we have 5 persons from the central bank, previously top management from the Central Bank of Liberia that are currently being tried.
That is not in connection with the $25 million. In connection.
Yeah, listen to the response. Listen to the response.
Authorization,
listen to the response. These people were in authority when the president ordered the mop-up exercise. And 16 billion was allegedly printed and brought into the country. The Kroll report.
You are mixing apple and oranges. I don't want to play hardball like that.
Okay. You want to know if crime was committed?
Yes, with the $25 million.
Crime was committed by those people who are being tried.
And they were in charge of the map-up exercise?
They were, except for Milton Weeks.
Were they members of the economic management team?
Milton Weeks was already out of the bank on July 4th. Milton Weeks.
Were they members of the economic management team, Mr. Gilman?
Yes. They were all top brass at the central bank.
Do you know the head of the economic management team, Mr. Gilman?
It's the finance minister.
And he did not do anything wrong.
The finance minister does not do monetary policy.
And yet he went on radio, opened his wild mouth, sorry for saying that, and said they went to Negrotown, Claratown, went to money exchanger. They used unconventional means to map out excess liquidity, even though he was not involved.
And what did the Kroll report say? 90% of the Liberian dollar in circulation was outside the banks. 90%. So how do they mop up the excess liquidity? You have what the gas station name that bought $2 million. $2 million. They bought $2 million, or what a total alone bought $2 million. And the report told us that all of the money that were mapped up, they were visibly seen in the vault of the bank. Okay? But an excess of $2.6 billion Liberian dollar that were printed. And you have 109 companies that you said you cannot find anywhere on earth that were established to change money. And these people that are now being tried will later on, based on the investigation that ensued after the fact, will later on be charged with money laundering. Where did that charge come from? 2.6 billion will not be accounted for. They did not report it as monies brought in. It was not in the vault. So where was it? That's why we're trying to tell you that the origin of the 16 billion saga and these people that are now facing trial, you have to dig deeper into their relationship with the
Mr.
16
Gilman,
billion.
which administration took delivery of, if not 80 or 90% of the $10.5 billion printed without legislative authorization?
The Salif government.
To delivery of 90% about that amount.
Right, right.
And do
They
you
took-
want me to believe that?
You know how much came in? Did you see the delivery and packing slip in the Crow report?
I
Most
ask you a
of the
question.
money-
Do you want me
most
to
of-
believe that?
Most of the, why can't you believe it? Unless you don't believe the independent report.
Mr. Gilman, there was a report that came from the auditing commission that in several ways implicated individuals who were charged with the responsibility to carry on the MAPA exercise. Because the president in his wisdom saw that crimes were being committed, sent the report to the LACC, and today is dead. I want to give you credit on this one. You carry this story on your platform. You've been counting on the days that report has been sent to LACC. When the president impressed on us that he's waiting for that report is yet to come back. What do you say to that?
I don't know whether the report is dead, because
It's supposed to come by in 2 months or less. And he has no time. So don't you think it's dead?
it's not dead, because
So did the president
the
lie
case-
or not?
the case, did the president say it's dead?
Did he lie to us?
About what?
He gave us a time frame in which the report will have
He gave a
returned to
time
him,
frame.
and it has
He
not.
gave-
That time has elapsed.
He gave a time frame to have the report. And when the report was submitted, we were told that further actions were being taken so as to bring charges to bear upon whosoever is responsible. And it was based on that further investigation, the issue of money laundering, the charge of money laundering was added on those guys, on the 5 people that are currently facing due process.
Mr.
Charles
Gilman, let me
Salih
bring
and
something
others.
to your knowledge. The individuals that are being prosecuted, one would say that these are officials who were with the early administration, and none of the officials appointed by President Weah or who having to have.
But
So
is
let me learn,
crime
Mr.
is
Gilman,
crime
let me learn,
is
Mr.
crime
Gilman.
transferable?
Mr. Gilman, let me learn.
Yeah.
And none of the individuals who also have supervisory role with the management of this money that have political linkages or linkage with the president, none of them is implicated and being prosecuted. Why so, Mr. Gilman?
You got to understand, Mr. Sear,
Mhm.
that crimes are not transferable. Let's establish that. Crimes are not transferable.
Transferable is not the right word here. We're talking about being selective.
Yeah.
Right?
But
Officials who have
what
supervisory role.
you are talking
with the
about, you are
management of
talking
the
about,
money.
you are talking about why is it only people from the Salif era are charged and not people
prosecuted.
and being prosecuted, and not people within the George Weah's administration. And
Isn't
that's
that
what
a good question?
it's a good question.
Go ahead then.
And that's what I said, crimes are not transferable. All right. These folks, they know and understand fully well. I cannot accuse you of a crime that perhaps you did in with me knowing. Let's say I was a partner to the crime, and then you are being prosecuted, and you cannot call my name, say Gilman is an accomplice. You know?
Mr.
What?
Gilman, still
Yeah.
playing hardball. Matthew Innes' death is mysterious. The government of Liberia seems to have no interest to get into the bottom of the mysterious death of Mr. Matthew Innes. Why so?
Is it accidental or mysterious? How did he die?
He died with what the government reported as being hit and run in the middle of the night. Mr. Matthew Innes was playing or played a major role. He had unique knowledge about the mixing 16 billion. And
so
died.
Who are the accomplices to the 16 billion? Who's being charged?
Mr. Matthew Innes did not sustain
if there's any mysterious thing surrounding his death, who you think will be responsible?
So are you suggesting that his death was like a coincidence? He had to die in this way, not until a 16 billion news had gone wide?
No, nobody celebrates the passing or the death of a loved one, friend, or family member. Nobody celebrates that. But when we, as a people, will characterize every death in our country to be the doings of government, then where does it leave us?
Thank you. Thank you. You answered my question. Again, folks, in cyberspace, this is Focus on Liberia on our program, The Hour of Politics. And as you can see, we are playing real hardball politics with Mr. Gilman. Because it's tough on him, he's yet to get some water. Mr. Gilman, I'm glad you are now having a, what's his name, Marco Rubio moment. I think you're doing okay, my dear brother. So, folks, thank you for being with us. Yes, again, this is Focus.
People will get water if you try to give them. If you get break, then the man will have water. But the man can be on the show drinking water. No, that as a host.
Mr. Gilman. Mr. Gilman.
I don't know who's talking.
Yeah,
folks, stop talking. Yeah.
Mr. Gilman, mute the people right there, please. Let's go ahead. We have 15 minutes left and we're going to wind down. So let's move to the last segment of our program. The whole thing started with your role organizing a peaceful protest. I maintain to say for fear that June 30th war. Mr. Gilman, I'm getting feedback right there. You organize.
Let me lower the microphone, folks. All of you on the phone, stay with me. If he wants me to bring you on, I will definitely bring you on. I've lowered everybody on the phone microphone. So please, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman. I was saying we brought you here because you and your team organized a peaceful protest for fear that the June 30th protest will bring war to Liberia. And throughout your conversation with us here, you said Henry Costa is doing all of this so that at the end of the day, he will cash out. That has been his mondo operandi, thereby contradicting your war drum thing. So my question to you is that if Mr. Costa and his team have been organizing protests for the purpose of cashing out, did you organize your protest to cash out as well?
Definitely not. Our march was sponsored by Liberians from all walks of life, from across the globe. Even Liberians at home, as far as Sino, Bokonjide.
People in Bokonjide contributed.
In Bokonjide contributed. In Dubai.
What's about people in Sastan?
We didn't get any, and I'm just giving you the symbolic nature.
I know, Mr. Gilman.
Of the fundraiser, of the fundraiser we had, and how involved, how people oriented it was, from Bokonjide to Dubai.
Contributed.
Tell
me about your GoFundMe, Mr. Gilman. You raised money through GoFundMe and you cashed out. how much was the total money you cashed out on your GoFundMe account?
GoFundMe, we have not cashed out, let's say withdrawn all of the monies generated there. We generated about 8,000.
And so where did you get all this money from to carry on this peaceful protest?
Let me explain it to you.
Okay.
You know, like we always say, there are evil people in this world. There are some Liberians that are evil, but there are a lot more good people than there are bad people. Our GoFundMe was a complaint reported to GoFundMe, and they've put an alert on the account and they are investigating. So of the $8,422 in there, we were able to have withdrawn over 5,300 or so. And the rest of the money, that was since the 5th of December. Okay. The rest of the money remains until they can conduct or conclude their investigation. Okay. Yeah. People send cash app donation. People send Western Union. They send MoneyGram, Walmart to Walmart. And of course, we had to also add our own monies to meet up with our obligation. And a report is coming up very shortly, a very detailed report, who sent what, by what means, will list their names and everything.
So you are trying to assure your contributors that you will be transparent.
They've seen it in us, and that's why they entrusted us in the first place. And we are not going to let them down because of a few dollars. We are not hungry for money. People's money, you know, public money is something that we don't play with, because within the blink of an eye, with all of the respect that we have garnered from the community,
just fly through the window.
It will just fly through the window. I see some people talking, oh, government sent him money, and they raised 22,000. Government sent him another 15,000.
Some people call you pay agent.
People call me pay agent, and then they say I'm looking for a job. So if I'm being paid for what I'm doing, why look for another job with government? You know? But first and foremost, we got no donation, contribution, monies of any sort whatsoever from the government or anybody in government. Nobody.
Mr. Gilman, there is this claim that most of the people who participated in your organized, quote-unquote, peaceful protest were sedition. What do you say to that?
We did not see Liberians that came out as seditions or UPist or ANC or whatsoever. We saw them as concerned Liberians who are concerned about their country and people. All right?
Thank you. Again, folks, in cyberspace, if you're just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia on our program, The Hour of Politics, with me, Anthony Sear, playing hardball with the veteran, Michael Gilman, and I think I'm holding him to my standard here. Mr. Gilman, let us go to the final segment of our show. In this segment, we will make a statement, an affirmative statement, and then you will respond. And after 3 of them, we will conclude the show. We've been here for almost
3 hours. Yeah.
First statement, Mr. Henry Costa is not a problem. Is it a lack of accountability? True or false?
False.
Second question, the culture of impunity and corruption are the greatest threat to our peace, not Henry Costa. True or false?
False, true. It's false that you will claim it's not Henry Costa. Henry Costa is responsible for what is going on in our country, the indoctrination of our youth to be violent, to be disrespectful to law enforcement, to government and authorities and what have you. It is true that impunity, you know, can hamper the country's growth and productivity. Because if people are found to be corrupt, they should be held accountable. They should be able to either go to court and account for their wrongdoings.
Final question, Mr. Gilman. The best deterrent is to prosecute warlords and economic crime indictees and not run after Herring Costa, the COP, blame opposition. In fact, Mamba Molu said the government should not be looking anywhere else. It should hold itself responsible for the economic misery our people facing. True or false?
False, true again. Mamba Molu is currently in a situation, according to sources. The CDC
is he delusional?
The CDC, no, he's not delusional. How would I describe him as such? He's not. But while I'm maintaining that I'm not the spokesman for government, neither for anybody in government, I'd like to state here that information that we put out here are solely ours and not anybody's. Neither is it Anthony Sears, the host here, or Dennis Job. All right, but ours. And I would like to state that emphatically. You see, what is happening in our country with regards to Mamba Molu, the CDC, and the question asked. We have a situation that people have got to be very careful about. The issue of Mamba Molu, we addressed it when he made that press statement. And you know, and I know, ever since then, the hierarchy of the party have been holding meetings behind closed doors. What's happening there? Hopefully, they will harmonize.
Some of those meetings are in dialogues.
And in dialogues. Hopefully, they will get to the point where they will understand that they are now in the driver's seat, and they should govern and not, you know, fight among themselves.
An auxiliary question for you to close with, Mr. Gilman.
Right.
Akara Gray, a lamb, that opportunists have taken over the CDC, and when the original sedition get ready, paraphrasing him, it will get nasty. Please close with that.
You know, I like how you fashion your questions and trying to get me to seem or sound like that government mouthpiece, you know, but I'm not. Again, I will emphasize
Mr.
that.
Gilman, I'm doing my job here.
Yeah,
this is a political show of this network. And when like we come here, we play hardball. Go for it.
I like that. But Akara's Gray is a fine gentleman, a decent lawmaker.
So he's bluffing. It will not get nasty.
Hopefully, it will not get nasty. Yeah, it will not get nasty. But they have to lead. They have to govern. Yeah,
they have to govern.
They cannot have any infighting in a public space like that. No, it's not good.
Mr. Gilman, can you close with that also? Is our economy, the Liberian economy, stupid?
The economy has been frustrated. Frustrated in the sense that instead of us, you know, there are key players in the economy. The government on one hand, the business people, and the consumers, which would be the average person. All right. Everybody have got a role to play in the economy. It's not one person. It's not the government. Not because government is the highest employer in the country. So everything has to be with government. No. Look at the exchange rate.
Mr. Gilman, you are closing.
Yeah. Look at the exchange rate from Ellen's time to now. What is it? Look at the commodities prices. You know, the frustration.
Those things are changing for the worst.
Yeah, the frustration, and that's the frustrating part.
That the government promised us.
That's the frustrating part. When government is making efforts to stabilize the economy, there are unscrupulous businessmen and consumers who feel that they can now maximize profit. Why do I say that? Government dropped tariff on over 1,500 different commodities.
Are you talking about chicken feed tariff, Mr. Gilman? Chicken feed?
Well, that's what we eat. That's what we eat. We make noise about it when the price goes up. So when tariffs are reduced on it.
Gilman, I got a call from somebody in Liberia who was looking for the ProPro-Rest. And they couldn't find it, and they kept going around Necro Town, Douala, and they still couldn't find the ProPro-Rest. Where is the ProPro-Rest, Mr. Gilman?
Well, it's Christmas time. If you can't find ProPro rice,
you can find Japanese rice.
You can get the next rice available. Yeah.
Mr. Gilman, your closing statement so we can get out of here. We have you here for more than 3 hours now.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Sear, Dennis Jar, and the team at Focus on Liberia. I'd like to thank all of you that have tuned in here this evening to listen to us here. I'd like to leave you with this message. First and foremost, let me emphasize that I don't speak for the government. I'm not a spokesman for the government or anybody in government, but a concerned Liberian who happens to be given the tax by all of you that are involved with concerned Liberians in the United States and our brothers back home, Israel. I understand you're not too well. Hopefully you get well soon. Kind Oliver Kind and the guest and the host there, let's say the team at Freedom FM, and all of you that are part of Concerned Liberia in the United States. Our tax is not over yet. We have a greater task ahead of us. We've just begun. Let's keep hope alive. Let's maintain our courage, our zeal, our enthusiasm that we withstood out there in the rain when the ice rained on us. And we said, thank God it did. And these are not bullets. We've just begun. Let's maintain our courage. Let the children play again. Let the people live in peace. Let's maintain go to war.
Let the people live.
Thank you very much.
That was the voice of Mr. Michael Gilman, our guest here, the chief organizer of Concerned Liberians who organized a protest to tell our people that we don't want no more war. There has been a long conversation with Mr. Michael Gilman on this program, The Hour of Politics, on this network Focus on Liberia. And I have been your humble host, Mr. Anthony C. This is how we are drawing down your time with us here. Anthony C. And this is how we will leave you. Thank you and bye-bye.